Hey, I'm Stoless, and I'm just here to check on how you're doing. Thought I'd just make a pretty casual video with some Skate 3 gameplay, while talking about a topic that I actually have a little too much experience in. Today I want to talk about the good and bad of video games, how you can use it for good, but how it's also potentially abused, and how to avoid that. I've had video games as a part of my life for about as long as I can remember, but a few years ago, my perspective on video games as a whole changed completely. Dealing with some stuff back then and not knowing how to handle it because I was just a kid kind of led to a pretty bad addiction and led me to the darker side of gaming culture. Of course, it wasn't all bad, and I feel like I've gotten to know a different side of life, but my point is, this really adventurous and beautiful hobby that I loved as a child was suddenly something that I felt the need to exploit in an effort to escape what was going on around me. And coincidentally enough, that's kind of around the time where video games started to become less fun. This habit of escapism and just distracting myself from the reality actually carried on for quite a while. And another consequence that came with that is I'm one of those people that feel like the world is so extremely boring and dull, and I think it has a lot to do with me growing up with these video games. So with that being said, my point is there's a really bad way to use video games, but I think there's also some pretty good to get out of it. I still enjoy video games on almost a daily basis, and I think I've learned a lot, and my attitude towards gaming is a lot healthier and a lot more or a lot less escapism focused. Having this time to play and express yourself, just thinking about something that isn't work or practical, is something that's super healthy for you, and whether you do it through arts or video games or creativity or whatever, it's something that's really important to have a healthy mindset. I also think that video games are great for just sitting down and thinking and recharging your energy, but I think there's a way that this can go pretty wrong, and this leads me to my next point. Hyper entertainment is my term for a sort of entertainment which completely uses up all your brain and distracts you from your reality, which means that you don't have time to think. And oh, well, there goes my dog. But you don't have time to think, and I feel like using video games like this is just a distraction, and it doesn't really do you any good. This could be, for example, watching YouTube while gaming, or keep scrolling through your TikTok while gaming, or whatever. I think a lot of people get used to this, and after a while they just forget how it feels to just focus on one thing and sit down and play video games with the volume up and just think while playing. In some cases, some people aren't even able to do that anymore. Some people are so consumed that they can't even sit down and focus on a game. I myself have experienced that, but I've luckily escaped it and regained the ability to just sit down and enjoy one thing at a time. I feel like if you're able to focus and kind of immerse yourself in that world, like I said earlier, there's a lot of good stuff to get out of it. For one, video games allow you to be creative, and it's also a platform where you can do all the stuff you aren't able to do in real life. So taking advantage of this opportunity to just try out stuff is something I'd say is a pretty good thing about video games. For me, it's also a tool. It's where I experiment, and it's where I test the limits of how daring I am without any real consequences. That's why I love stuff like horror games, because it's such a beautiful thing that you can be so incredibly scared and there's no real danger at all. A lot of people that play video games just sit in the comfort zone, and they never challenge this fear, and they never challenge this daring feeling. They just play the most comfortable way they possibly can. And I think if you're gonna try to utilize video games, then that is one of the major things you should think about utilizing. Because, why not challenge yourself? Why not try to be scared? When there's no real consequences, why not try to simulate this feeling? In the end, it's like, I feel like it's a way to get stronger without ever getting hurt. Another topic I wanted to talk about is actually something that I think I really ruined for myself. Through these years of the toxic gaming culture, I kinda got used to completely disregarding anyone I would meet in a video game. I guess for me, this could be a good thing since I don't really care too much about the gaming culture and the social aspect of it anymore. But I do feel like if you do that and completely disregard anyone or just completely close yourself off to the social part of gaming, then you miss out on a lot of good friends and a lot of people that you could possibly talk to over a long period of time. And yeah, it's not something I regret, just closing myself off completely to people I meet online, but I think if you are able to keep yourself open, then you should definitely do that, because you can make some amazing friends online. And that's the side of gaming that you should really embrace, the bright side, the good side, the community side, you know? Even though that might be really difficult if you've gotten used to trolling, but now that I mentioned that, I'm actually making a video about the negative side of trolling and how I feel like it's a very, very bad thing for both the internet culture and everywhere else it spreads to. But yeah, I guess you'll just have to see when that video comes out, whenever that is. Video gaming actually also helped me gain interest in other hobbies separate from video games, and ironically enough, this skate gameplay you're seeing is actually it's actually the game that got me into skating in the first place. I feel like there are some hobbies that people who play video games usually find cool, at least a little bit cooler than someone who doesn't play video games. And skating and airsoft are definitely two of them. But to just kind of sum it up a little bit, I think all these good things I say about video games, it'll all kind of go to waste if you don't know when to stop. I think with something that's so nice and bright compared to the rest of the world, it's so easy to use it as an escape or get addicted to it. But you can't use it as an escape. If you truly want to enjoy video games without hurting yourself, then you should use it as a tool. You should use it as a way to have fun and experiment. Laugh and have fun with your friends online. I think that's undoubtedly just 10 times better than being on the dark side of gaming, where there's all this trolling and this sort of community where any sort of sincerity or genuine message just gets crushed or made fun of. And just a quick edit, I thought I'd slip in here. I'm actually also making a video about that whole topic, the sincerity just being made fun of and crushed, and why I think that is, and that whole culture in general. So thought I'd just let you know. So stay away from that, embrace the bright side, and have some good times. Because it is and should be treated as such a treat to be allowed and to just sit down and focus on such a bright and fun world for a while. And it's so important not to beat yourself up for just enjoying that for a little while. Now, I think that's all I had to say about video games. So I want to say good luck with whatever you're doing, and if you want to watch my upcoming videos, they're going to be pretty varied. It's not all going to be like this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. So see you guys.